Hello, everyone, again for another episode. My name is Denise Cordero. I'm a holistic life coach and soul mentor. You are tuning into Diving Deep with Denise. This podcast intends to create a sisterhood, a tribe of women that gets to have raw and authentic conversations about all expressions of what it is to be embodied as a woman. Through the vulnerable sharing of our stories, we get to invite other women to share theirs, to be empowered, to be healed, and to boldly step into their authenticity and their truth. Today, I have an amazing special guest. Shirley McGowan King is a mompreneur, married with two children, 1 and 4 years old. She's half American and half Italian, born in Germany. She was lucky to grow up multilingual. Shirley is currently based in London, UK. She created Mom-to-be Sisterhood through her own experience in her first pregnancy, where there was a total disconnect between her birth plan and the actual lack of love and attention to detail during the care received from various professionals. As a consequence, she developed PND, also known as postnatal depression or postpartum depression. She found herself thinking that someone had to do something about it and empower women to know their rights and to be supported with the utmost care and love. Today, she is supporting women across the world going from being anxious about their upcoming childbirth to feeling truly empowered, confident, and nurtured at childbirth and beyond. Welcome, Shirley. Thank you for being here with me.
Oh, thank you so very much for this fantastic, wonderful introduction, Denise, and thank you for inviting me. It's lovely to be here.
Absolutely. Now, as a mother myself, I want to ask you to, share with the audience a little bit more about what that first experience was for you and trying to understand why does it have to be so difficult? Why can't we have the birth experience and plan that we have?
That's a very big question. Why? I asked myself the same question after my first childbirth experience. Why? Why does it have to be this way? It does not have to be this way. And that's why I've created Mom-to-be Sisterhood, because I want to make a change. I want to give women a place where they can truly feel supported, nurtured, loved, and be part of a worldwide community where they find day and night, whenever they need a support, there's always someone that is awake. Somewhere in the world, there is someone awake. And even in the same country, in the same city, how many moms are awake in the middle of the night, holding their babies, not knowing why this baby is crying, or during pregnancy, why do they have a certain pain? Why is there certain worries? And so for me, it's so important that women can find the support that they need at the moment they need it. So often you have to wait the next day, wait for your appointment, wait. We don't want to wait when it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to our babies. We want to be supported right there and then, because we want to solve the problem that we are going through at that moment of time. And so with Mom-to-be Sisterhood, this is what women can have.
Yeah. Where do you think is the disconnect between the experience we want to have or the birth plan that we may have or women have in going into, their pregnancy and their childbirth, and the caregivers or the doctors that are responsible to make sure that you have, that everything goes smoothly?
There are different reasons why, and what women most often do not know is that hospitals have their own procedures, and so that's what they are focusing on their procedure. we want to believe that the doctor is there to help us, and in a certain extent, of course, they are there to support us. However, when it comes to the hospital's policy, unfortunately, that is what takes priority. And so they push women to go down a route that they might have decided in their birth plan or have spoken with their doctors about, that they don't want to go down. And they are with conversations and psychological games, I would almost say, because in that moment, women are very vulnerable. It's the most vulnerable moment of a woman when they are, giving birth during, I can't think of that word now. That's really weird. When they are in pain and the baby is coming,
Right.
that's the moment where the woman cannot really, think properly, and very often they are scared as well on what's going on, and so they trust their doctors, and they trust the decisions that they make, although they don't feel they want to go down that route of taking some certain medication, for example, or wanting that medication and the doctors don't give it to them, or the midwives. And also, like, induction is a big thing, and many hospitals do push for inductions, although the women don't want to be induced and have those conversations and are made believe that they have rights. Well, when it comes down to it, the experiences that I have heard very often, and that I personally had as well, with both cases, by the way, they push you down that route of their processes. And so when a woman lacks of self-confidence, of information, not knowing their rights, and especially feeling powerless, that's when they are more exposed to things not going the way that they desire. And so within Mom-to-be Sisterhood, for me, it is very, very important to empower women, to empower through information, to empower through building their self-confidence and listening to their intuition, listening to their bodies, connecting truly with themselves in order for them to stay connected, even whilst they are going through labor. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Even when they go through that labor and they have that pain, and they are not letting the pain take over their minds. And so they can make the decisions and can say, no, read my birth plan. This is what I want. And, and also when you know that hospitals have their processes, look into that. You can choose where you want to give birth to. So go to that hospital that has that process, that is aligned with you. So it's very important that women know this information. And I know, I can see with talking to many women, they have no idea about all of this. And so I made it my mission to teach all of this, because I've learned it after my first childbirth experience. And I thought, this is not right. Women should be more informed and more empowered.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a couple of times you mentioned, hospital or clinic. Now it's been, my youngest is 24. So it's been at least 24 years since I myself have had a childbirth experience. But I do know that there are now different birthplaces, that hospital is not the only option. Is this something that you open up to and discuss with your clients as well? Not only what actually happens in the labor process, but also that, or whether they get medication or not medication, whether they desire to have a C-section or not, or have a natural childbirth, but also that there are different support systems, and that there are also different birthplaces, that if you choose to have, and I know that maybe there are certain laws or restrictions around this depending on where you are in the world, but you could have a childbirth with a doula. You could have an in-home childbirth. You can have an in-water childbirth. Are those some of the options that you discuss with your clients and let them know that there's different, there's different ways that you can experience this, this miracle that we go through.
Yes, no, absolutely. It is definitely part of the information that the woman needs to receive so that they can make the decision on what type of birth they desire to have. I do have within Mom-to-be Sisterhood experts, worldwide experts that I work with, that I call in depending on what situation I'm dealing with, because obviously every woman is different, every journey is different. And so as we go through the stages of pregnancy, there are certain areas that maybe the client would like to discuss further. And so I have those connections where I then bring in the expert and we have a session with the expert, or they can connect directly with the expert, whatever the situation is, so that they receive the information from the doula. For example, if they're interested to work with a doula, then I get them connected, I invite them to our sessions, and then they have this opportunity to ask questions. So especially in the group environment, I call in the expert and they tell about what a doula does, what support they offer, and if it is a home birth or a hospital birth, they can be there. Very often women think that a doula is called only when they have a home birth. No, the doula comes also to the hospital. So should plans change while you give birth, they follow you. They are your spokesperson.
Yeah.
And which is an amazing thing to have. And so yeah, absolutely, within Mom-to-be Sisterhood, it's all about giving them all the information that they need, and part of it is really to inform them the different type of births and connect them to the experts. Because I am a mom, I speak from a mom to another mom.
Yeah.
And I speak from a mom who has gone through a very challenging first childbirth experience that I don't wish to hear ever a story like this from any other woman. But unfortunately, there are many negative stories. And so I come from a place where I'm like, the more I can give, the better the experience of the woman can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this may seem like an asinine question, but I need to ask it. Women around the world are having babies every single day. Every single day. Why is this so important? Why is this childbirth, this pregnancy and childbirth and having a birth plan, why is this so important?
Well, so I think because women are giving birth since humans exist in the world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We always we give birth, and so I believe we should be so much more forward in the process, in the support that women receive than we are in 2022. I mean, technology is fast, is more forward than care for than the care for women, pregnant women, and I'm actually outraged by it. I'm totally outraged by that. The support should be like top. Because we have gone through it numerous times that we can't even count, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, well, we could count, we just need to count the people that we are in the world, and then we know how many births there were, roughly. So I just think we should really work on this much better.
Yeah.
And I am so passionate about this because I don't think it is right that women suffer and that their needs, we're not even talking about rights anymore, but needs, human needs, are not met.
Yeah.
I just don't have the right words to say how outraged I am that so many women are not being heard. And during the pandemic, it's just shameful, to say the least, that women had to give birth on their own. And sometimes there was not even the availability of a professional around. I've interviewed a woman who, luckily, she was a nurse herself, and she had 3 babies. So this was her 4th baby. But however, she found herself giving birth on her own.
Wow.
They completely forgot about her. And, you know, we should obviously always keep in mind that these are human beings that are dealing with their own stresses in their professional life as midwife, as doctors. And of course, during the pandemic, everyone was just like overwhelmed in the professional life and in the private life. You know, obviously we want to, you know, I'm not here to talk negatively about midwives and doctors. I'm just saying, let's look into the system and do something about it, because it's not okay for a woman to be left alone giving birth. And especially during the pandemic, I was pregnant myself, and women would reach out to me, and you know, there were stories where women had to hear negative information from their doctors, where they had to interrupt a pregnancy, and they couldn't even be hugged by the midwife that maybe wanted to hug her. That was another story I heard, and my heart was just breaking. And the dad was waiting outside in the car, and she went back and couldn't even speak to him, and he could not go to the doctor and ask his questions, because then there are the dads as well that are going through their experience as a dad that are not being heard. So that brings me to another point, and I'm sorry if I'm going on and
please.
on.
Yeah.
But within Mom-to-be Sisterhood, we're looking also at the dads and supporting the dads through those stages, because a woman goes through so many things that she doesn't really realize. You know, what's going on with me? Oh, these are the hormones, you know, and I'm crying and I'm laughing. And the man is like, what am I going to do with you? You're not the same person anymore. How do I deal with you? And so, you know, we bring dads and moms together, and in stages, not every meeting, because it's really focused on the mother, but we want to support the dad as well, so the dad knows what's going on and can support the mother better as well. And we prepare them to become a dad too. And so when the baby arrives, it's a journey that they have learned to go through together, and those challenges that come afterwards are going to be gone through together rather than separating, because very, very often the dads feel like the child has taken over. You know, I don't have the attention anymore. I kind of understand, but I still feel like bad about it. I don't know how to get involved because the baby is breastfeeding, for example. And so what can I do? The baby wants to be with the mommy all the time. And so we teach how you can be part of that, so that you are not separate from what is happening. So I went from one thing to another. Sorry for that.
No. Quite all right. So I wanted, you're saying about the other parent as well, the dad and the role that he plays in this whole process as well. And I just wanted to ask, by any chance, do you have an experience, or do you work with same-sex couples or any type of alternative couples where it may be, there's a surrogate that's involved? Have you had any experience with that, or is that something that you're welcoming into your practice as well?
Yes, of course. I don't close the doors to anyone. I didn't come across to those stories, and so I would need to learn with them, if that makes sense, because obviously that is then a different situation.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they need different type of support.
Yes.
I believe. I mean, it's even with parents with twins, right? Parents with twins go through different experiences than parents that have a single child.
Yes.
A single child? one child, one birth, one childbirth, but not twins. And so I have an expert for that too, that I can guide them to. So if they start the program with me and then they find out, oh, we have twins, I'm like, okay, hey, you're very welcome to stay with me, with us. I'm very happy to support. I wanted to have twins, to be honest.
Yeah.
Could have had the chance, but didn't happen. And so that's because in my husband's side they have twins there. So I'm like, oh, maybe we get twins. It didn't happen, but anyways, very happy to support. But then again, you know, for me, it's about supporting the mother. And so if the mother feels that I cannot support them enough, but there is this other fantastic, wonderful expert sitting in the USA that can support them, I am very happy. I'm very happy to introduce them to them, because for me, of course, Mom-to-be Sisterhood is a business, but this comes from my heart, and to serve and support women. And so when they come to me, they don't have to stay with me if their needs change, because it's about them. It's about serving them and how they feel, how best they feel supported.
Yeah. Shirley, I really, really, really love, because you've mentioned it a couple of times, the fact that you have other resources that you pull from and other experts in order to really individualize, customize the experience for that person, that one client that you're working with. So it's not a one size fits all. And you're not saying that you have all the answers. You're saying that, yes, you are a mentor, you are a coach, you're there to support them, but you also have a community of resources that can help them with the different areas of that experience, different areas of that plan. And I love that so much, because it resonates with me as well as a holistic life coach and soul mentor. I feel that I don't do the work by myself. First of all, I don't consider myself to be an expert. I think the client, the person you're working with, is the expert in their own life. It's a matter of us being able to hold space so that they can have those powerful insights of what is it, who am I really, you know, who am I, what is it that I really want? But in working with clients holistically, whether it's they want to work on their nutrition, they want to work on, you know, losing weight, or they want to change their body composition, or maybe there's some other therapeutic modalities that could be helpful for them, I call upon my experts. I call upon, you know, my different resources in community, people that I've worked with, you know, for years, and that really truly have been in their industry 20, 30, 40 years, that can support that client. So I love that, just the idea of community, you know, the idea that we don't have to do it all, that we're not the gurus per se, that we many times are the bridge to the different connections or the different things that a person may need. So I love that. I love that you do that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do it with a lot of passion. It's more than passion, it's a life purpose, it's a mission. It's really like part of me. And, you know, we are gurus, you and I, from our own ways, we are. And then we call the gurus that are in their area the gurus, you know?
Yes.
But it shows that, it really shows that we, you know, there's so much pressure on people. That goes now a bit of generalized conversation, but I think it's really important to also say this, that, you know, we don't expect from the others to know it all, but we do expect it very often from ourselves that we know it all.
Yes.
Right. And then as an expert in our field, we feel like, oh, wow, you know, what is this other person now thinking about me if I can't answer the question? No, we have our areas where we can answer all the questions, but then there are certain areas where other people have to come in. And because you and I come from a place of serving and really truly help women in achieving their goals, in their endeavors, we are willing, we have created a community to bring that all in so that this person can truly be successful in what they desire to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I wanted to come back a little bit to the postnatal depression or the postpartum depression. I will admit that this is like a hot topic for me because this is something that I experienced and I didn't even have a word for it. I didn't have an understanding for it. I had my first child when I was 17. So besides having, besides being very, very scared about the whole experience and not know what to expect, my goodness, I wish I would have had you, Shirley, when I was 17 having a child, because I didn't, I read a lot of books, I read a lot of information, but I truly didn't have an understanding that I had the choice of having a birth plan, that I could decide what I wanted for myself. It was almost decided for me on the fly with a doctor. And whether I wanted pain medications or not pain medications, it was just like, it was expected without my participation that I was going to have a natural childbirth, and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. I was induced. That was a very last minute type of thing as well. And I didn't know what to expect at all, other than thank goodness for other women in my life, that were like, this is what could possibly happen, or this is what could possibly happen. But everyone is different. Not everyone reacts the same way to inductions. Not everyone has the same experience, not even from one childbirth to the next. So how can you expect that you're like, oh, okay, I think this is what will happen, but I'm not sure, type of thing. So fast forward, I had my daughter. I did have an induction. It was extremely painful. I had no idea this was going to be like crazy. And I had taken Lamaze. I did all the breathing techniques and all these other things. I ended up having an episiotomy. I wish that I didn't, but I ended up having an episiotomy. So I had stitches and all these other things. I was very uncomfortable. And yes, I was very, very, very depressed. And I didn't understand what was going on with me. And I'm sure you understand this as you went through this experience with your first childbirth as well. It should have been a happy moment where I was like elated and I have this beautiful baby, and I got through it and I brought her into the world. And it was like, I looked at her and I'm just like, take her back to the hospital. I'm like, I didn't even want to look at her. It was horrible. And I had no help whatsoever until finally, when I was having postpartum checkups, I'm like, something doesn't feel right. Something is it's just not, I don't feel right. Something is not well. Lo and behold, I was put on antidepressants and I didn't feel comfortable breastfeeding at that time. So it was a whole slew of confusion. Can you talk more about that? Are there ways to truly avoid that? Because it's horrible. I mean, what do women need to know about this?
Well, first of all, you need to know that it does exist, postnatal depression, and how it might look like, how it can develop, why it does develop. And I truly believe that postnatal depression can be avoided with the right preparation and the right support network. I truly believe that, because I have gone through it for the second time, and I decided it's not going to be the same experience. I panicked when I found out that I was pregnant again. My first reaction was panic. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go there again. But it passed quite quickly, because I'm like, hold on a second, I've created Mom-to-be Sisterhood. So Mom-to-be Sisterhood is there for me as well.
Yes.
So straight away I put everything in action, and and things went so beautifully for me the second time around. I felt truly empowered, and through the whole pregnancy and childbirth and beyond. I mean, when I had her in my arms, I felt complete. I'm like, yes, I needed you. I needed you in my life. So it's beautiful when you get to that space. So postnatal depression, what is really important for women to know is that it's likely to develop postnatal depression if you had past depression already.
Hmm.
So
Makes
whatever
sense.
type, excuse me?
It makes sense. Makes total sense. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So if you had depression at any stage of your life before getting pregnant, it's really important that you communicate that to the medical staff that you work with,
Yeah.
and also acknowledge it yourself. Don't panic, but acknowledge it, that that is what can happen postnatal depression, and there are various tools that we can support you with in truly going through the pregnancy. It's exactly what I have used with Vanessa. So I have ensured that I have the right people around me and that I feel confident, because it's the power that we are carrying within us that we have to awaken.
Yeah.
It's good to have that support group around you, but these pillars can fall for several reasons. They can just fall apart. But if you stand, you're the most important person. And so if you stand because you feel the powerhouse, nothing is going to interfere with your experience, with your pregnancy experience, your journey, and even your childbirth experience. And so when you go through that journey, feeling empowered, feeling strong, feeling that whatever happens,
Yeah.
you're going to be absolutely fine, then you will hold that baby feeling truly happy from within. And then no postnatal depression can hit you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And something to look forward to. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's supposed to be something to look forward to. The pregnancy journey is something so beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps while talking about it, because
Yeah.
it's just so beautiful when you feel those first kicks, and you go and look at the scans, and you understand how the baby is lying there. And it was so cute, so fantastic. With my daughter, I could see how she was crossing her legs, and when I saw it, I just said it out loud. I said, oh, that's like my son, he used to do that as well in my
Yeah.
belly. And my husband was not around because he was not allowed in during the pandemic. But I felt so good to be able to see those scans, and I'm seeing it in front of me as I'm talking about it, and you
Yeah.
see the position of the baby, and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then you can look forward to a gender reveal. So I'm gonna have a baby girl, a baby boy, and it's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to be exciting, and this is what I want to emphasize as well.
Yeah.
During Mom-to-be Sisterhood, we're not just talking about the things that can go wrong. We're talking about the things that are going to go well.
Yes.
It's going to be a joyful program. It's a joyful event. And so therefore it has to be a joyful program. It can't be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to have fun as well. And yes, when things come up, we're going to talk about them. We're going to go through them. But it's a beautiful event we're talking here about. We're talking about bringing a new life into the world, into the family. How can we welcome the baby in the best possible way?
That's awesome. That's so amazing. Thank you so much, Shirley. Is there anything that you want to impress upon or leave with our audience that I may not have asked you or didn't touch upon?
Well, we are currently focusing on a very specific program. So we support women step by step through their pregnancy and
Yes.
empower them to become the mother they want to be. And within this frame, we are focusing right now on supporting women in their third trimester.
Yes.
And we teach them how to visualize and manifest their desired childbirth. We are taking the power within us. We are not letting the power out and trust other people that we love or that we trust, doctors and everything. No, we are trusting ourselves first. And so
Yeah.
we help them to go step by step, understand what visualize and manifesting means, and then we're going to work into truly visualize and manifest their desired childbirth, so that they can experience a truly empowered, nurtured, and safe childbirth without feeling that anxiety, that fear that tenses them up, feeling
Yeah.
out of control. We
Yeah.
don't want that. And I teach this by using the universal laws. So we're looking into that, and it's just so empowering. I have used it with my second experience, and it was just like night and day. And so I'm focusing on that right now.
Beautiful. Shirley, how can people get a hold of you? Anyone that's either planning to have a family soon or is on their way and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that I have access to this. Let me get a hold of Shirley. How can they reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out to me on my website, www.mompreneur.com, and mom written in American, MOM.
Yes. Yes.
And then, of course, on Instagram, Facebook, Mom-to-be Sisterhood. Yes, just look me up, or
Awesome.
Shirley
Well,
McGowan King as well, my
we'll
profile.
be including all those details with a podcast description so that anybody who wants to start working with you can reach out to you, connect with you, and um, and start their journey. So that'll be awesome. That's a great resource to have. Um, Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so very much, Denise, for this fantastic conversation and for this opportunity to work with you and to meet your audience as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into another episode of Diving Deep with Denise. And until next time, I will give you all the descriptions, all the notes that you need so that you can get a hold of Shirley. If you're going through your childbirth journey, this will be awesome for you. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.